Your thoughts on the budget, the good, bad, and the ugly?
Well, I think there are a lot of positive points, as both your previous speakers have mentioned. For one, I think it is a very comprehensive budget with well thought through proposals, which have been, of course, one will have to look at the fine print, but I think the homework is really solid on this budget. But to begin with, the first point that at FICCI we had been stressing upon is that a once-in-a-century pandemic calls for a unique kind of a budget where you cannot be constrained by fiscal deficit norms. And from that point of view, I think to acknowledge right off at the beginning to say that the fiscal deficit for FY21 is 9.5%, and to then have a sort of a progressive, calibrated, coming back to normalcy is exactly what we had been advocating for. Because despite the V-shaped recovery, there is also a realization that this is when growth needs to be nurtured. Steps need to be taken to push both investment as well as consumption, and therefore a sudden withdrawal of.
Mr. Panda, can I just interrupt a second? May I just ask you a question, sure. Mr. Panda? I agree with you. 9.5% is the figure, and it's good to see there's some, transparency in that figure. But can you explain to me why with 9.5% we still had a minus 7.7% growth in GDP, which is 3 times higher than the other developing countries of the world? So, I mean, what are we doing wrong? I think if I can just point to one fact and ask you on this issue, mentioned in the economic survey, if you have a look at, and we keep saying implementation is a problem, implementation is a problem, just look at what the economic survey said. If we look at that graph, it shows that on-ground implementation is a problem that we are facing. We suffer from over-regulation. Just look at that. Overall rank 69 gone down to 74. Quality of regulation gone down from 87 to 104. These are in 5 years. This is from the economic survey. Improper influence used to get anything done gone down in the world from 74th, which was pretty low. Now we are 107th. So much improper influence is being used. Timeliness has got worse. The good point is that, okay, we've gone up in due process, but you have due process, but all these problems. And, we are talking about startup, one person. We are 130th in the world in starting a business. And here's a country which is known for entrepreneurship, for intelligence. We do so well when we are in other countries. And you just register a property, we are so bad, we are 154th in the world. So now, I'm just saying, this is what implementation is about. If we are going down, 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 according to the economic survey, that we are not tackling that.
So let me respond.
It's just living on hope. Yeah,
so
please.
Let me respond to that. In as much as ease of doing business is concerned, while a lot has been done, I don't think there is any denying that a lot more needs to be done, and it needs to be something that we simply cannot take our eyes off the ball. And having said that, there are measures which have even in this budget been talked about, which is collating all the various laws and regulations in the financial sector into a single securities code. But let me get back to your first point about 7.7% GDP contraction for the year. The devil, of course, lies in the details, because what we started out with in the first quarter, which was terribly hit by the pandemic, was an unprecedented 23.7% contraction of GDP. But if you look deeper into the details, as I'm sure you would have, that the 7.7% contraction for the year includes a meager 0.1% contraction for the second half. So there is a sharp bounce back. But having said that, no one can deny that the first 3-4 months, perhaps the first half of the year was significantly affected by COVID, and it takes some doing to bounce out of that.